We welcome you back to the Charles River as we are ready for this Smith Cup race. Harvard and Northeastern. Harvard still undefeated on the year, number 3 in the most recent rankings. Northeastern 4-2, they are number 6. And let's reset the starting lineups here as we're being told they are ready to go.
For the Northeastern Huskies today, sitting in lane 3, coxed by George Doty. Jasper Engel will sit stroke. Elias Kuhn is in the 7, Braden Camp, Jan Henneke, Ruben Houghton, Peter Arata, Cormac Purcell, and Will Lerwick will sit bow. You look on the other side for Harvard, George Cousins will cox this group. Clark Dean, David Ambler, Now DeGraff, Patrick Adams, Liam Corrigan, Lars Lorch, Arthur Doyle, and Kenneth Copland round out this Crimson Varsity 8, and we are underway for the Smith Cup.
Again, this is reverse from the races that we saw earlier today in terms of lane assignments from this camera view, looking towards the back bay of Boston. Northeastern now on the right side. They're in the black. Harvard is in the crimson today. This is the 30th running of this event. Harvard has won 26 of the 29 previous runnings of this Smith Cup on the line, named for the late Charlie Smith, who worked at the boathouse for Harvard for 10 years and Northeastern for 5 after that. There you see the lane assignments as they come down the Charles River with the Smith Cup on the line. Harvard trying to stay undefeated both on this season and in this event since 1997.
Harvard already sitting about 5 seats up. George Cousins coxing this Varsity 8 from England, and the top person in that top seat. Very competitive crew. So involved, it's a great combo of youth and experience in this boat for Harvard, and Charlie Butt believes now in the midst of his 6th season at the helm of Harvard men's heavyweight crew, he's got an undefeated group that could be rounding into form for a lot of hardware when the Eastern Sprints and the IRAs come calling in the days and weeks ahead.
Very nice start for the Crimson so far. Northeastern, who has trailed for most of the events we've seen today, and then right around the Mass Ave Bridge and the back half of this race has started to catch up, made it very interesting in that second varsity race. Still trailing Harvard right now. You can see the advantage that the Crimson had, more than a boat length ahead as we look at it approaching the Mass Ave Bridge.
You see the margin widening now from Harvard. The mid-race adjustments have been pretty strong for Northeastern. The slow starts come back to bite them so far. For 3 today, the first 3 contests against the Crimson, and you set the scene correctly, Eric. This has really been the tone of each and every race today. At the Mass Ave Bridge, when you're working through that middle 1,000, you'll see here Northeastern has been able to pick up some seats, get bow back into within reach, but Harvard has put the pedal to the metal late. They've been unstoppable, and you see Cousins take a quick peek over to check that margin as they hit Massachusetts Ave.
They emerge from underneath the bridge, and you see Harvard still holding on to the lead, trying to win the Smith Cup for the 27th time and stay undefeated on the season.
This first boat for Harvard, you have that senior class sitting 2, 3, 4, Doyle, Lorch, Corrigan, showing a lot of strength, technical ability, and endurance.
It's a really nice combination between some of those senior leaders that you're talking about and then a star freshman in Clark Dean, as we said, who's at the stroke position. We told you what Charlie Butt had to say about him. He's represented the United States at the World Juniors multiple times already, 16 years old for the first time in Rotterdam. Out of Sarasota, Florida, started this year training on the very same course that he rode in high school down in Sarasota. The Harvard lead strong in this final race, the Varsity 8. That has been about the margin that you see right now most of the way since this race got started.
Into the third 500 here. Great press by the Crimson. Northeastern doing just enough to keep contact, to prevent Harvard from getting into open water, but again, an uphill climb for the Huskies. Ranked number 6 in the country. They finished just half a second behind the Crimson in this Smith Cup race last year. It's going to take one heck of an effort to get within that margin again.
Yeah, they have really been closing. 2 years ago, it was 1.5 seconds, the margin. Last year, as you said, half a second. Not quite a full boat length, but pretty close for Harvard. The final 500 now.
This Harvard boat is undefeated this year because their sprint sequence has been elite. Picking up the cadence now, stroking toward the finish. There you see that orange flag on the far side, the indicator of who will cross first, and now essentially open water for the Crimson the rest of the way.
Harvard starting to pull away in the final stretches of this race against Northeastern. And the Smith Cup is going to stay in Cambridge. As Harvard comes across first, they remain undefeated for a 27th time. Harvard will take the Smith Cup as they beat Northeastern.
Workmanlike effort by the Crimson from start to finish. They were aggressive off the line, fast out of the gate, took about a 4-seat lead early, and then ended up winning it by a full boat length to retain the Smith Cup.